This is the growth strategist, Aldonna Ambler, with your tip of the week. I hear people who run service firms claiming that they serve a niche. A lot. And when you really listen, you wonder if they have invested fully, dug deep, and completely committed. Because you can tell the ones that have. Let me give you an example about one that I just read about in Bloomberg Business Week, in mid-August edition in 2013. There was an article, and it reminded me that I had heard the name Sard before. And you have too. Sard and Verbinnen is now the #1 PR firm in the M&A space. That is a major statement. Now, these guys left Ogilvy back in the late 80s to create their own company, and they now have 110 spin masters working in their business, and they were involved in 41 transactions, M&A transactions, totaling over $71 billion just in the first 6 months of 2013. Whoa! Now, if you followed these things and you looked at the articles, you might actually remember, or could see, Sard's face, George Sard, behind some of the key people that have been in the news. And I want to make sure I say it right. You know, for example, Fabrice Tour's case with Goldman Sachs, right behind him, a little bit over, George Sard. Or Stephen Cohen of the hedge fund SAC Capital Advisors. Or the people at Dell when they were dealing with a potential takeover. Remember that? And you can also see his face behind the people of Air Products and Chemicals as they dealt with Bill Ackman's $2.2 billion investment. Whoa, this guy's visible. And that's just the first 6 months of this year. In past cases that had been very visible, for example, Nelson Peltz of the Heinz Group, when they had a proxy battle in 2006, remember that? George Sard was in that photo. Martha Stewart, when she faced insider trader charges in 2004, or Dick Fould of Lehman Brothers in 2008, or back in 1994, the people of Kidder Peabody. They have invested in the M&A space. It's not easy to get to be #1 in PR and M&A. What can you learn from Sard and Verbinnen? Now maybe your industry, your target industry, is not as contentious or not as exciting as M&A. Well, it might be just as demanding. Could you be the people who delivered on time the products that they need that are mission critical and go far enough that it's almost like magic that things show up because you exist and you know how that industry functions. You don't try to do it for everybody, but you know how they work cold. Or could you do surgical placement of top execs for that industry because you really know the key players? An example I've lived through was that we could hear complaints from people who run service firms. They didn't like how growth financing was being done. Traditional bankers have a very difficult time judging the scalability of service firms and are reluctant to do non-asset-based lending. And if you hear that and you're fully invested in an industry, what if you could, drill deeper, invest, fully commit, like we did, and we created the Service Industry Fund, and it's made a huge difference in the positioning of my companies. Now, I don't feel like I did it as far as Verbinnen and Sard, but the lesson's there. If you say you're in a niche, what would you need to do to become #1? To fully commit, dig deeper, and invest. This is the growth strategist, Aldonna Ambler, with your tip of the week.